welcome to another action-packed episode of Impact. Before I get started, I want to say something. We now know that Rebellion is a themed Impact show. It's covering 2 days, the 21st and 28th. You guys know how I feel about themed Impacts. I do not like them. But due to the pandemic, I can understand why they did it. Now, a lot of people will say they're biting off the WWE. But if they want to give their fans something to eat, something to absorb, something to chew on compared to WWE, it is understandable this is what we're going to get. Now, I'm not fond of this situation. I'm not agreeing with it completely, but I understand why they've done it. So we're going to go from there. Opening of the show, which was the entire... I know everybody else is going to talk about other stuff. I know. And I do like what happened in the show. This actually was a very good show. But this was the part I loved. And the guy, I believe I got a shot of him. He's in my face. Mike Jackson. Last week we had the Johnny Swinger said, I'm bringing in MJ. I'm bringing in one of the Jacksons of the Young Bucks. That's what we all thought. But you wonder, when they going there? And they decided to cart out a 70-year-old wrestler and a Mike Jackson to do a match with a Johnny Swinger. I don't know how you guys feel about this match. Personally, if you guys hated it, more power to you, fine. This was the highlight of the show for me. Yes, this is a 70-year-old dude who don't look so good. He's super skinny, skinnier than me. But it was awesome because this guy still could somewhat go in the ring. He does old school of an Undertaker. Instead of just going from one turnbuckle to the other, he goes to all four. And he still loses, but still, seeing a Mike Jackson, I botched his name in the beginning, but he's in my face again. I don't care how stupid this was to every person that exists. I love this because it's unique. Look, NWA has the Rock and Roll Express. And they wrestled. No problem. They weren't great at it. We know they're slow. They don't have the tank anymore to really go. And this guy looks like he's not much different. He may have a little bit better in the tank, but at least he knows how to sell very well. He knew how to still do his moves. He was still willing to take a bump at 70, and he did super old school, as I'm calling it. It was awesome. Was it awesome for everybody else? No, they're not going to like it. But it was different. Better than the WWE any day. I'm saying it now. And I know people are going to say, well, what we've been getting from WWE has actually been good. No, this was nothing. What they did this Monday was nothing compared to this one segment and match. Let's move on. We had a four-way. XXXL versus the Rascals versus Falaba and TJ Perkins. Falaba was wearing boots. I don't know why he chose to wear boots now, but he's wearing boots. And we had Reno Scum. But what is this? It wasn't a fatal four-way for a number one contendership. It wasn't something that's building up into the Rebellion, but it was a good match. At the end, Falaba as well as TJP won, and then we had the... It felt empty seeing the North come out. And this was not a number one contendership. It wasn't. This just a regular fatal four-way that wasn't even stated. So I think they made a mistake not saying anything. Why didn't Josh as well as Madison say anything? And I got to say this about Josh and Madison Rayne. I have no problem with them working together on commentary. But why don't they ever do a storyline with them? I'm saying it again. Give Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne a storyline where they both work together. Either they're at odds with one another or they're working together. I want to see it not because I think they're both the best, but we've had them together for so long where they work together on and off, and then they act like they don't even care about each other as man and wife. They got rings on their fingers. We know they're married. Why don't they just do one story together and see if it'll give us something different? I'm just saying. Cancel culture had their moment. We see a little vid pack of Joseph Ryan, and then we see RVD as a heel with his real woman in I'm just saying, seeing Katie together with her actual man, doing a segment together, really is fun. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that RVD is perfect as a heel. He's not. He doesn't normally play heels, and I'm not saying he's doing it bad. But it's good enough to pass. And then seeing him in a jacuzzi saying they're not going to go out there, deal with the pandemic, dealing with people staring at them, and then getting turned on and horny and then kissing the hell out of one another wasn't that bad. At least it's a little bit of sex. And I'm wondering if Twitch is going to take that off, because they were in the pool together. And it looked like Decayed Forbes did not have a bra on. Boobies. Anyway, let's move on. Raju versus Hernandez. Now, beforehand, Raju, he's in my face, had a moment with Gama saying, I need this match at Rebellion to get somewhere. I need to focus on this. And he says, what are you doing? This is Gama saying, I know what's good for Debsy Hit Squad. Do not mess with me. Smacks him in the face. And you're wondering if this is going to be finally a real story in the Debsy Hit Squad, where one of them is actually going to be doing something. The Debsy Hit Squad has been around for how many years? 2 years? Maybe 3 at the most, I think. I can't remember how long they've been together. When we had Raj Singh, and we had Raju, and then we had Muhammad Shira, and then the other guy, and now we only have Raju. And is this finally the moment where they're going to do something Raju? After seeing the match with him and Hernandez? No. Because Hernandez whooped his ass. He whooped that ass. So you don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in Rebellion. Will Raju actually win? I don't remember who's going to be in the match in the Fatal 4-Way. But if they're giving Raju this one moment where he could actually shine in a character, in a story where he has been in the same group for a long time and has been done nothing with. He has done nothing. He's been a joke majority of the time. He's been a character that's been a joke. You wonder if they're going to do something. Now, locker room talk with Madison Rayne and John Swinga, who just won his match against Mike Jackson, where he had to cheat to win. They had their moment with Kylie Ray. It was okay with Kylie. I didn't mind them trying to grill Kylie in a kind of like a Jerry Springer type of thing. And Josh did say that it felt like a Jerry Springer type of thing. They're going to have to do a lot more hard work and have a better set than a simple couch and a little place for Madison Rayne to sit. They need to be a little more elaborate. They could have seats. They could have something a little bit different. But this is the first time they're actually showing it on Impact. Whether they're doing it on YouTube or Impact Plus, or it doesn't matter. Putting it on the main show is going to be the question if it's going to work. Then you have the Kira Hogan, who now pretty much belittled a Kylie Ray. And Kylie showed a little bit of being pissed off, saying, I don't like you. I don't like saying this, but I don't like you. Here's the thing. Kylie Ray is cutesy. She reminds me of someone who loves Pokemon. She's cutesy, and that's her character. And seeing her dealing with a Kira Hogan makes some sense. But here's the thing. Kira Hogan has not really gotten anywhere. Yes, she's been in some prominent storylines where she worked with the Bunny. She worked with Rosemary. She worked with Sue Young. She worked with Tessa Blanchard. She worked with Taya Valkyrie. But when has she ever gotten anywhere? Not really. She's never had a chance to really have the Knockouts title, which she should have had. I say last year she could have gotten it. Yes, I know she's only been in the company barely 2.5 years. But the way they booked things in Impact Wrestling, she could have held it. And right now, it feels like she needs a title. She does. And she doesn't have something. She doesn't have an accolade. She doesn't have a title. And it feels like this match will be very one-sided for me personally. Let's move on. Eddie Edwards and Michael Elgin in QPW Qatar Pro Wrestling. Now, this looks like it's a Middle Eastern wrestling promotion. And at Qatar, I saw a couple of women in the crowd that were not wearing burqas, which seems to be a good thing. But here's the thing. I'm not against the Middle East and people with their culture in the Middle East. But let's be honest here. The Middle East are extremely tribal. They are extremely religious. And they're mainly doing this for show. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people there that are really trying to make it fair and balanced for females and males and not letting the culture as well as the religion control people. But I don't see QPW really going very far. Unless it's an American promotion, which it isn't. Qatar Pro Wrestling is for wrestling in the Middle East. And it's going to be a question if this is going to be propaganda for the prince or princes of the Middle East, or it's just going to be a real promotion. Because when you see the WWE dealing with the Middle East, you know this is just for show. It's for show. So I'm just saying, was the match between these guys good? Of course it was. I enjoyed the match. They got good chemistry. But here's the weird thing. You got Eddie as the heel and Michael as the face. This was a very strange scene, seeing Michael Elgin as the good guy and Eddie's the bad guy. It was nice. And then you got someone I haven't seen in a long time. Johnny, I'm surprised to see Cage there. It was nice to see Cage there. And he was the one that helped Michael Elgin. Fine. I'm fine with it. I have no real problem with Cage being there. It's just seeing that now Impact Wrestling has some interaction with a promotion that's from the Middle East makes me a little wary. But I'm hoping that QPW actually becomes a real promotion and doesn't let the princes of the Middle East mess with them. Let's move on. Ace Austin versus Trey. I'm sorry, guys. The match was really good. But I don't really care about the match. You know why? It's simple. Trey has been... When you look at the storyline between Trey and Ace Austin, it was a good storyline with Trey's mom being involved. But you got Trey getting his ass whooped twice. Flat out. And it was clean the majority of the time. Clean. A clean match both times. I did not expect Ace Austin the job here. And he didn't. Ace Austin won here generally clean. No problem. I mean, he did do a little heel stuff. But he did it cleanly. I don't know why they keep putting Trey up against Ace. It's a waste of time. And particularly, this is about Willie Mack. I would have liked to see Willie Mack go up against Trey. That would have been a different dynamic. Because you could have made it about Willie Mack trying to get that X Division title, making it mean something. And with Ace Austin messing with Willie Mack, and then Willie Mack having to deal with Trey, who's telling him, you don't know what you're dealing with. You better be on your guard. And he says, I'm fine, I'm good. He says, no. And you see Trey could get some character development, not turning heel, but actually he should turn heel and go up against the Rascals. I'm being honest here. But getting this actually would make some sense. Seeing that type of development, instead of just the same good match, but the same freaking outcome of a Trey getting his butt whooped. Now, the last match of the night, and that was Tennille Dashwood finally returning against Taya Valkyrie. Miss Beautiful, Sexy. I would like to see what Taya Valkyrie looked like with black hair. If anybody has a if there's a picture of her with black hair instead of blonde, leave a comment below, leave a link. I would love to see what she looked like with just plain straight black hair, because she is a brunette, let's be honest here. A sexy brunette, but a brunette nonetheless. Was this a good match? Yes, it was. It was a good match, but in the end, Tenille wins, which is understandable. She just came back. You don't want to job her out. But then she gets destroyed completely by a tire, being chairs thrown on her. She's getting trash cans hit into her face. She's getting trash can lids getting hit in her back. She basically gets her butt kicked. And at that moment, I was thinking, where is Jordynne Grace? We have not seen her for weeks upon weeks. She should be seen. And just as I'm thinking about her, there she runs out to defend Tenille Dashwood. The question is going to be, now that we're going to have Rebellion next week, why couldn't we have this build up a week or two ago easily? Why couldn't a Jordynne Grace do any type of... If they couldn't have her there, couldn't they have done Skype? Couldn't they have done something? Couldn't they have booked her to at least get ready to have a #1 contendership? Because she has done nothing since she won that title from Taya. Literally, when is the last time you guys seen her? Since she won back in Mexico City, Mexico. Nothing. Unless you're watching Explosion or something on Impact Plus, the main show that everyone watches, nothing. So it's good to see that she's there. And this is probably going to build up into Rebellion, because there's nothing else for her to do. But just me, you guys tell me below. We got the contract signing between... Guys, let me put this in this respect. I'm not going to cover what happened in this segment for the contract signing, other than Sammy did a good job, really good job, putting over Ken Shamrock, putting over himself. Ken signing the contract, the lights go out, and then you have not one, not two, but at least a dozen guys with an ICU type of mask on their face that's a square, messing with Ken Shamrock. No problem. It actually was a good segment. I think it was produced better than what the WWE has been producing. And I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me about that. But I'm saying, honestly, by an objective perspective, the camera work was better. The special effects was better. It just looked more better produced. It just does. I don't think the WWE, even with Jeremy Borach, I haven't said his name in so long. JB, I had forgotten Jeremy Borach so long, I forgot how to pronounce his name. He helped to develop what was done in WrestleMania for those 2 nights. He did a decent job, even though the camera work was terrible. But when you see the production of Impact compared to the WWE, it is obvious that WWE does not produce these type of things often, and Impact does. So they did a better job. But here's the thing, and I'm being honest here. I just don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. Let's put this in basic perspective. Why is Sammy dealing with Shamrock? Why did they set up Why did they set up Sammy to deal with Shamrock when he should be dealing with OVE? He still hasn't dealt and done anything with Eddie. He hasn't done anything with Sammy as himself, dealing with Rich Swann. I mean, he's still out because of his injury, but when he comes back, wouldn't it be good to have him deal with OVE, deal with Eddie, deal with Rich, and then go through Tessa? I just don't see this as something that's useful. It just feels like he's floating. I'm being honest here. It feels like he's floating. But it's just me. He should be dealing with OVE. He should be taking out Madman Fulton first. He's then Jake, then Dave, then he goes after Eddie. Then whenever Rich comes back, if he was healthy, he destroys Rich or have him join him in ICU. And then finally, he goes after Tessa, which would make a good story. I just don't see it here. And I know people are going to say, well, he needs to have filler in between. Well, yeah. But wouldn't it be good to have him go after OVE bits at a time, and then filler, then Eddie, then filler, then Rich if he's healthy enough to come back, then filler, and then he comes after Tessa. Storyline, filler, storyline, filler, storyline, and then the final story after one more filler would make a better story, make a better arc for him. But it's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.